The ocean took it back in one night. All 120 homes gone, flattened like dominoes under nature's wet revenge. As dawn broke over the shattered remains of Paradise Palms HOA, I stood alone on the original dune line, sipping my Kona coffee from a thermos. An FEMA agent approached me, bewildered. "How's your place still standing?" he asked. I simply pointed to the handwritten sign on a post that read, "Private land, not for sale." "You've been warned." I'm David Khani, and I'd owned my strip of Hawaiian shoreline for decades. It was a quiet, palm-lined acre where I restored native flora and watched sea turtles shuffle through moonlight. The land had been in my family since 1911, passed down like an heirloom. No McMansions, no fences, just sand, sea, and sacred stillness. My grandfather built our home here with his own hands, positioning it carefully back from the shore with traditional flood vents and an elevated foundation. He knew the ocean's moods better than most. Then came Patricia Summers, the HOA president of the freshly minted Paradise Palms development next door. A mainland transplant who wore linen like armor and referred to herself as a community architect. Patricia believed beachfront should be optimized for resale value and tiki aesthetics. She moved here from Connecticut just 18 months ago, bought the biggest house in the development, and immediately ran for HOA president on a platform of maximizing property values through aggressive expansion. My land, she declared at her first board meeting, was an underutilized resource of great visual inconsistency. I know because my neighbor Jake attended and warned me what was coming. Patricia had already drawn up plans showing my property divided into beach access paths, a communal fire pit area, and what she called a signature tiki lounge experience. Patricia started with polite requests delivered in person with that fake smile of hers. "Would you consider donating the land for a communal fire pit?" she asked one morning, holding a clipboard like a weapon. "The whole community would benefit from shared beach access, David. Think of the children." When I politely declined, she shifted tactics. "All owners along the strand are contributing shoreline for shared access," she said with a harder edge to her voice. "Don't you want to be neighborly?" The answer was still no. Then things escalated in ways I never imagined possible. I woke up one morning to find orange survey stakes driven across my property like little flags of war. By noon, heavy machinery was carving a gravel path straight through my restored dunes, crushing decades of careful cultivation. The operator claimed he had work orders from the county, but when I called the county office, they had no record of any permits. I came back from a fishing trip 3 days later to find a concrete foundation being poured just 10 feet from my hammock. Workers were everywhere, and Patricia stood in the middle, directing traffic like a demented orchestra conductor. When I confronted her, she waved a stack of papers in my face with a triumphant smile. "Official zoning reclassification," she announced. "Your land has been designated as unclaimed municipal shore buffer. You should have participated in the HOA meetings, David. We voted unanimously to develop this underused space for the community's benefit." The papers looked official, complete with county seals and signatures, but something felt very wrong. I spent the next week at the county recorder's office and discovered the truth. Patricia had filed false paperwork using forged signatures from county officials who'd never heard of the project. She'd created an entire paper trail claiming my land had been abandoned and reverted to public use. Using these fraudulent documents, she'd already sold 120 pre-construction luxury units to buyers across the mainland. Half of them were under contract to Bay Area tech workers looking for their piece of paradise. Her marketing materials made my blood boil. The crowning achievement was a glossy brochure featuring drone photos of my property labeled as a blank canvas for luxury living. She'd even photoshopped buildings onto my land, showing happy families barbecuing where my grandfather's memorial garden grew. The pre-sale prices started at $800,000 per unit, with Patricia personally pocketing a 20% development fee through her newly formed company, Beachfront Dreams LLC. I immediately filed for emergency injunctions and hired the best property lawyer on the island. I brought in my family's original land deed, complete with Kingdom of Hawaii stamps, territorial area documentation, and every notarized map showing continuous family ownership. The evidence was overwhelming and indisputable. But the HOA's construction blitz moved faster than the court system. While we waited for hearing dates, Patricia's crews worked around the clock. Within 2 months, my peaceful acre was completely surrounded by scaffolding and pop-up model homes. They built right up to my property line and, in some cases, over it. Patricia hosted a champagne and bulldozers event to celebrate what she called the most ambitious beachfront development in Hawaii. She stood on a makeshift stage built on my family's land and gave a speech about manifesting dreams through decisive action. That week, I received letters from confused buyers claiming to have purchased portions of my property. One couple from San Francisco insisted they owned the spot where my bedroom stood, planning to convert it into an ocean view breakfast nook. Another claimed rights to my grandfather's memorial garden for their private Zen space. Each had paid substantial deposits to Patricia's company. The lawyer finally got us an emergency hearing date for the following Monday. Then, on Thursday evening, the tsunami sirens began to wail. The Weather Service issued an urgent warning about a massive wave generated by an underwater earthquake near Japan. Expected arrival time was 3:42 a.m. While most residents immediately began evacuating, the Paradise Palms HOA board called an emergency meeting to discuss whether the sirens were legally actionable under their bylaws. Patricia posted in the HOA Facebook group, telling everyone not to panic. "Our elevation plan is FEMA compliant, sort of," she wrote. Besides, tsunami warnings are usually false alarms designed to hurt property values. Stay calm and trust the process. Several residents responded with concern, but Patricia deleted their comments and banned them from the group. I didn't waste time arguing. I packed up my important documents, family photos, and my 2 dogs, then drove to my cousin's place in the mountains. As I left, I saw Patricia directing workers to secure the model homes with sandbags. She was more concerned about protecting her investment than warning the buyers who trusted her with their life savings. Several construction workers tried to tell her they needed to evacuate, but she threatened to fire them if they left before finishing. At 3:42 a.m. exactly, the wave struck with devastating precision. From the safety of the mountain, I watched the emergency broadcast feeds in horror as the ocean reclaimed its territory. The surge was massive, far exceeding the 100-year flood predictions that Patricia had ignored in her development plans. Dawn revealed the truth in stark detail. My ancestral home, built with traditional knowledge and respect for the ocean, remained standing. The elevated structure with flood vents had weathered the storm exactly as my grandfather designed it to. Every single structure built under Patricia's Paradise Palms vision plan was completely obliterated. Her designer lanai was gone. The tiki bar she bragged about was reduced to splinters scattered in the trees. The model homes, the foundations, even the illegally poured concrete paths, everything was swept away like it had never existed. FEMA, the State Zoning Commission, and the Department of Hawaiian Homelands descended on the site with an army of investigators. The destruction had exposed Patricia's fraud in ways no court hearing could have. Buyers who'd lost their deposits demanded answers. Insurance companies launched their own investigations. The forged documents, the illegal construction, the safety violations, everything unraveled within days. The FBI joined the investigation when they discovered Patricia had been wiring the pre-sale funds to offshore accounts. She collected over $48 million in deposits for homes built illegally on land she didn't own. The investigation revealed she'd done similar schemes in 2 other states before moving to Hawaii, always targeting beachfront properties with complex ownership histories. Patricia was arrested at the airport trying to board a flight to Costa Rica. She was indicted on 17 counts of fraud, 12 counts of forgery, 8 counts of theft, and 23 counts of environmental violation. The prosecution called it the first known case of HOA-driven coastal annexation fraud in United States history. Her defense attorney tried to argue that I had never properly optimized my beachfront for community use, as if that justified stealing it. The trial was swift. Evidence included her forged documents, recorded conversations where she bragged about circumventing property law, and testimony from over 100 defrauded buyers. The judge was particularly unsympathetic when Patricia took the stand and claimed she was just trying to improve the community by developing wasted space. The verdict came down hard, guilty on all 60 counts. The judge sentenced Patricia to 25 years in federal prison and ordered full restitution to all victims. The total fines and restitution exceeded $52 million. When the judge read the sentence, Patricia's face went white as she realized her empire of fake deeds and stolen dreams had finally collapsed. She screamed that it wasn't fair, that she was just trying to maximize property values, before court officers led her away in handcuffs.